Welcome to the fish tank.
Hey everybody, Fishman here, welcome to another video. This is Fish Room Vlog Part 5, and we've just had that nice break in temperature. It's actually quite livable at the moment, and I thought it was time I got to this project. This renovation's overdue. I need it moved, and I need it reset up in the proper order. And I need to do that before the temperature decides to go back up, and it is just way too hot and humid to want to do this sort of thing. So, I've gotten rid of almost all the plants now. You can see they're pretty much empty here. Most of my other tanks are kind of crowded now with plants, but hopefully I'll get this moved and reset, and I can spread them back out. And of course the clients are currently opening up again, so I will be able to move a bunch of those into that. So getting the water drained out here, I've got the fish. They are also quite crowded now, but I have them spread out sufficiently, I think. They're always left in this trio of red devils. I've had them spread out, and a bunch of adult plecos, which are easy enough to place. This, if you remember from a while back, it was one of the first in-tank planters I made, the planter filters. And it actually has done really well, as you can tell, with the big pothos that's trying to take over my fish room. The only thing I kind of didn't like about this particular configuration is the bent piece of acrylic tubing. It was difficult to keep it clean and clear and not plugged up, so that was about the only thing I would change. As you can see, it worked well enough. So I've knocked off the bottom collector pipe, and I've pulled all the tank, the ones with the brackets for where the lids go. And even though I had fished out a ton of scuds and shrimp, there is still a whole pile in there. Even this isn't all of them. I mean, this system grew these things like you can't imagine. It was just insane. So now the tanks are all drained. I pulled them all out, and they're stacked just off screen to the right there. And now it's a simple matter of undoing the bolts, because I need to re-drill these to configure them for just 2 rows of tanks. And I think I'm going to go down to 2 rows of 5. I was originally thinking I could squeeze in 6, but I think it's a bit too much. So I'm going to go down to 10 tanks for this particular rack. So this thing here, it's just, this thing's just crazy. I mean, this is only about 1/5 of its total mass, but it was the part that was like, had me a little concerned, not so much at this point, but if I left it growing, I mean, it is really gripped onto the concrete here. As you can see, as I'm gonna pull it off, it didn't want to let go at all. And I'm gonna, after I break off the lower part of this, have a look at right where the rhizomes or roots are attaching to the concrete. Right here is actually pulling concrete off the wall. I mean, that's some serious grip, I tell you. So yeah, this has to come down. It's just I'm not going to grow this variety of pothos ever again, I don't think. It's just way too aggressive, and it's way too good at doing what it's doing here right now. So this particular plant is going to get scrapped, and I find actually in general I'm tending towards not using too much in the way of terrestrial plants anymore. Not so much because there's anything really wrong with them. I mean, they're great in planter filters, and they do what they're supposed to do. But I'm having really good results with the high humidity caps on the planters, and I actually like the look of them better. So for that reason alone, I'm just going to tend more towards those. So there is a good chunk of the rack and a bunch of the aquariums, and on the other side of the water heater there is a whole pile more. And this is the only thing left to do. And this thing actually surprised me. This it happens every now and then. When I hooked this up, almost 20 years ago now, these 2 chambers here and the other 2 just ahead there, they were completely stuffed with coral bits. And as you can see, it has dissolved. I mean, it has been 2 decades, but having it reduced by this much really actually surprised me an awful lot, because, like I said, I know it does coral and shells and all that sort of stuff in fresh water gradually dissolve, but having it go down to almost nothing like this, that was impressive. This is something that has caught my eye. I don't know what it is. Well, actually, the core of this here is just a piece of coral, and what's growing on it is what I had no idea what it was. Initially, I thought it was just a bunch of scuds or something just gripping onto it, but as you can see, it's not. I have no idea what it was, and just because I tend to do this now, I just decided to record it, and that way, after I film it like this, and I put it on the monitor, it magnifies it sufficiently that I can have a closer look at it. Anyway, just something. It was a curiosity. If anyone knows what it is, just leave a comment below. That'd be kind of cool to hear, because I have no idea what it is. So anyway, that's the fish room renos. I will re-drill those and get those configured and get those tanks in proper places, and hopefully that will be relatively soon, at least before the heat comes back. As you see, Mama Convect here is doing well. I pulled out the separator just to give them more room, and also because I want the flow in this to be better, so I can get hopefully the leak-proof canister filter, the mod on it, will get it to look like this instead, which is kind of my hope. And then all those scuds and shrimp you saw, I put them all up in there, and it's right now it has a fair amount of algae in it because well, it looks like this, and then you'll see if they start working on that, and then we'll see how this goes as well. I still have 2 more updates I want to cover, so I think I better get at it. This is the deep bed undergravel filter, the 4-inch one, and I'm actually really loving this filter. This is a breeding colony of plecos. As you can see, they're nice and chubby, and they get fed lots. And you know, if you keep plecos, especially if you breed them, they fertilize really well, and tanks usually end up looking quite messy. But this tank is really clean and clear, and I'm not having any problems with it at all. And I mean, this filter is pretty much barely cycled, if it is at all, and it's doing really well, and it hasn't come up with any issues whatsoever. And if it's keeping the tank clean at this point, I'm really interested in seeing how this matures. And also, because I'm getting that rack move finally, the 8-inch one is even going to be more interesting. I mean, this is actually a concept I'm really getting to like. We'll see how it goes. One thing I want to do, though, is I want to show you the back end of this, because I mean, this is where the filter is going to stay, and you really can't see it too well, which is, you know, optimal for, you know, viewing and stuff, but not very good for actually looking at the filter itself. So I'm going to swing around to the back here, and you're going to get to see, well, first off, there's an awful lot of poop in the thing, and you can see it right there. I mean, plecos, I mean, that's what they do, is they eat, they do this, and they make babies. And this thing is managing to deal with all that, which is actually really cool. I really like this. This style is actually something that I'm going to work with a lot more on for sure. The last update I want to cover is for this tank here. This is one of the tanks that was part of the undergravel filter experiment I ran, where I was running different medias. And this one here was the commercial plant media, the one that you would put in the bottom of your aquarium and plant your plants in it, and it would help them grow. And if you remember, I had an issue with all of a sudden there's a whole pile of Hydra in this tank. Now, Hydra are easy to get rid of. It wasn't a big deal, so I've taken, as you can see, there's none here. And it wasn't enough of a reason to tear this one down and do something else with it, so I let it go because I wanted to see how the plants do. Now, as far as most of the plants go, I really can't tell a difference between it and any of the others. Plants grow really well, but there's one particular plant I'm going to get to here, one that Angela from Angela's Fish Tanks gave me, and that's this one here. Angela, I don't remember what it's called. It might be Red Luigia, but I honestly don't remember. But this particular one actually is getting to interest me because you can see it's starting to go above the water a little bit, and the leaves still look really nice. So I'm thinking of using this in the high humidity planter filters, and maybe in the rainforest build as well. So that is something I'm gonna use and try out. Here's the same plant, and just in gravel, and you can see it's not quite as vibrant. So there's a couple things I want to check out with that. I'm getting near the end of the video here now, so before I forget, if you like this style of video, please like and or subscribe. That'd be greatly appreciated. And always leave comments and let me know what you think. And I'm going to show you one more clip of this. This is the back end of that same tank. And as you can see, it is actually really kind of a lush plant, and it's got lots of roots going down. So there's a bunch of things I'm going to do with it. I'm going to try stuff out, and we'll keep you abreast of what's going on. Now I'm going to have to end up taking this apart because you can see a little bit of bubbles underneath. There's air now beginning to collect underneath the plate of this one, so that's no good. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you in the next video, and bye for now.